This is a Dalarna University production.
Welcome to our next session, where we will talk about how to introduce yourself, how to give more information about yourself. We are going to talk about family. We are going to talk about your age, how to talk about age in Russia, how to ask how old are you. We will also cover some words as to live, жить, to be, быть, and to work, работать, in the present and in the past. We also will cover some grammatical aspects when it comes to the pronouns in the dative case, which are needed when we talk about age of someone. So, welcome to our session and try to follow me. We will start with some information and some dialogues. So, here you can see a dialogue which is in Russian. I'm going to read it firstly and try to recognize the phrases from the previous sessions and try to repeat after me, and then I will also give you a translation at the end. Be attentive and listen, repeat, and try to recognize some of these phrases. Давайте познакомимся. Меня зовут Виктор. Я русский. Очень приятно. А меня зовут Александр. Я швед. Александр, вы живете в Москве? Да, сейчас я живу и работаю в Москве. А где вы работаете? Я работаю в фирме. А кто вы по профессии? Я экономист. А где вы жили раньше? Раньше я жил в Швеции. Мой родной город – Стокгольм. Это очень красивый город. Москва тоже очень большой и красивый город. Извините, Александр, мне пора. До завтра. До свидания. Here you definitely met some phrases from the last sessions, and some of the words here are quite new for you, and we will cover them a little bit later in the same session. To the right you can see also a picture of two men who tried to present Lenin and Brezhnev, the previous Soviet leaders, and this is a picture taken in Moscow outside or near the Red Square. Anyway, back to the dialogue. You remember the phrase «Давайте познакомимся». Let's introduce ourselves to each other. My name is Victor. Меня зовут Виктор. Я русский. I'm Russian. Очень приятно. This phrase should be pretty familiar to you, and it means nice to meet you, as you remember. Nice to meet you. My name is Alexander. I'm Swedish. Я швед. Alexander, вы живете в Москве? So he asked, Alexander, if you live in Moscow? Yes. Now, сейчас, I live and work in Moscow. Я живу и работаю в Москве. А где вы работаете? Where do you work? Я работаю в фирме. I work at some firm or company. А кто вы по профессии? The last session topic, profession, профессия. So what is your profession? I'm an economist. Я экономист. А где вы жили раньше? Where did you live before? Раньше. Раньше я жил в Швеции. So previously or before, I lived in Sweden. Мой родной город, my native city, is Stockholm. Это очень красивый город. It's a very beautiful city. Moscow is also a big and beautiful city. Москва тоже очень большой и красивый город. And then at the end he says, извините, Александре, excuse me, Alexandre, мне пора. This phrase means I need to go. Мне пора. See you tomorrow. До завтра. And he answers, до свидания. So, please listen to me again and try to repeat it. Давайте познакомимся. Меня зовут Виктор, я русский. Очень приятно. А меня зовут Александр, я швед. Александр, вы живете в Москве? Да. Сейчас я живу и работаю в Москве. А где вы работаете? Я работаю в фирме. А кто вы по профессии? Я экономист. А где вы жили раньше? Раньше я жил в Швеции. Мой родной город Стокгольм. Это очень красивый город. Москва тоже очень большой и красивый город. Извините, Александр. Мне пора. До завтра. До свидания. Now we will pay attention to the verbs which we met before, and we will need to look at the past tense of these verbs. So the first verb which we'll look at is to live, жить, and the next one to be, быть. Then we will look at the verb работать, to work, and учиться, to study. So the first line here, you can see they pronounce я, I, ты, you, and he, on. So this past tense of these verbs is for the masculine representative. So if you are a man, you will put L at the end of these verbs. Or if you are talking about some masculine representative. So check the first line. Я жил, I lived. I or he was. Был, he worked. Он работал, and he studied. Он учился. What we've done here, we put away the ending t from the infinitive form of the verb and put the ending l instead of this t. For the feminine form, if you're talking about women or girls, or if you by yourself, a girl or woman, you will put the ending la. Жила, была, работала, училась. If we will take the plural form or formal way of addressing to each other, we will put the ending li at the end of this verb in the past tense. So if you say we lived, you lived, they lived, мы, вы, они, we will say жили, we were, были, we worked, работали, and we studied, учились. So you don't need to think about the conjugation of the verb. The only thing you need to think about is the masculine or feminine form and the plural. Look at the example below there. Сейчас я живу в Швеции. Раньше я жила в России. So if I talk about myself, I will say now I live in Sweden. Сейчас я живу в Швеции. And you use the present tense of the verb to live because you're talking about now. And previously, before раньше, I've lived in Russia. Я жила в России. The next sentence. Моя сестра живет в Москве, а раньше она жила в Петербурге. So my sister lives now in Moscow and before she lived in St. Petersburg. So the word now, сейчас, and before, previously, раньше will help you to decide if you need to use the present or the past tense of the verb. Now please look at the table below there to the right. I put the different endings when answering the question где, where. We've discussed in the previous session that when answering the question where, где, in Russia, we need to use the locative case of the nouns, pronouns, or adjectives. And usually we've said that we put the ending ye at the end, like in the middle you see the Moscow, Moskva, and we will answer the question где, where, in Moscow, в Москве. So you have changed R into ye ending. Китай, China, в Китае. Польша, Poland, в Польше. Falun, в Falуне. So the usual way is to put ye at the end and you replace the vowel or e if you have it in the infinitive form. But if you have the words ending in ya, like Россия, Italia, Russia, Italy, many countries in Russian will end in ya, Россия, Italia, Germania, Germany, Hispania, Spain, and when you have the ending ya in their basic form or infinitive form, answering the question где, you will need to put e instead of ya. So not ye, but e. Россия, but where, где, в России. So I will say I live in Russia. Я живу в России. You always can come back to this slide and try to listen to me again. And now we also can ask each other what is your nationality or where are you from, and we're going to talk about some of nationalities which are quite common perhaps. So the question what is your nationality in Russia sounds кто вы по национальности. Кто вы по национальности. Or where are you from? Откуда вы? If I'm saying I'm Russian, we have three forms. We have the masculine form, I'm Russian, я русский. If you have feminine form, русская, and plural, we are Russians, русские. Then I took Polish, поляк, it's he, полячка, she, поляки, they. Italian representatives, итальянец, итальянка, итальянцы. American, американец, he, американка, she, американцы, they. And Swedish, Швед, I'm Swedish, masculine form, Шведка. Please remember if you are feminine, you use this form, Шведка. And we are Swedes, Шведы. The next question which you can ask your neighbor or your acquaintance or friend, what is your native city and or in what city were you born? Какой ваш родной город? So literally it will be translated as what is your native city or in what city were you born. Мой родной город, my native city, or I was born. Мой родной город. So now I'm going to read it again up down and try to follow me. Кто вы по национальности? Откуда вы? Русский, русская, русские. Поляк, полячка, поляки. Итальянец, итальянка, итальянцы. Американец, американка, американцы. Швед, шведка, шведы. Какой ваш родной город? Мой родной город. For example, Stockholm. Then you can also ask, where do you live now? Где вы сейчас живете? Сейчас я живу в Фалуне, for example. And don't forget to put and the year, because you can put the question, where do you live? Сейчас я живу в Фалуне. Where did you live before that or previously? Где вы жили раньше? Раньше я жил в Стокгольме, например. So previously I live in Stockholm, for example. Then you can describe with the help of some adjectives the town you live or lived before. You can say that it's a small or big, old or new or pretty town. So we will start with the adjective small. Маленький, большой, старый, новый, красивый. So, маленький, большой, старый, новый, красивый. In this session we often met the verb to leave, жить, and try to look at how we conjugate verb to leave, жить in the present tense. I live, я живу. We live, мы живем. You live, ты живешь. Or you, formal or plural. You live, вы живете. He, she lives. Он, она живет. And they live, они живут. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the past tense or majority of Russian verbs is formed from the infinitive stem, adding their suffix L for masculine, la for feminine, lo for neutral, and li for plural. So check the example. Жить, жил, работать, работал,